Saudi Arabian women going to the Starbucks cafe in the kingdom's capital, Riyadh, were surprised to find a sign waiting for them at the door telling them that they're not allowed to go inside. This is according to a piece originally broken by Emirates 24/7. They originally reported on the piece. I have a picture of the sign itself. Can we go full screen so everyone can read this? Please, no entry for ladies. Only send your driver to order. Thank you, because of course, you didn't drive there. Your driver had to take you who's a male because you can't drive, let alone go inside a Starbucks. So originally, I saw this story all over the internet, and it was the titles were kind of misleading. It said, women barred from Starbucks in Saudi Arabia. That's not the case. It's one Starbucks, the one in Riyadh. And, you know, I thought this would be a good opportunity for Elliot and I to give you guys a little bit of insight of what Saudi Starbucks is like. Let me tell you first off why they barred women, Elliot, from this specific location. Apparently, in all the Starbucks, and probably a lot of other establishments in Saudi Arabia, there's a big barrier in the middle, a wall that separates the men and the women. They can't even be in the dining areas together, or the drinking areas, whatever you want to call it, in the cafe. So this wall, unfortunately, collapsed at some point, and they were doing maintenance. So during the maintenance, they didn't want to lose out money. They still want to have their customers. So instead of closing the whole place down, they kept it open during construction, but only for men. So only the men could go in during construction. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. So, yeah, the segregation. The other interesting thing to note was the angel. I think she's supposed to be is she a mermaid? Mermaid. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. The mermaid is not present in Saudi Arabia. They had to change. They've tweaked the logo, made it a little bit more gender neutral. A nice little star there. So that's kind of interesting. It makes more sense than our logo. It looks a borderline Jewish star. I mean, I don't know how they managed to get that one through. Our risky, really sexy Starbucks logo that we have here in the West, right? A little risque, yeah. Too much for them. So the wall fell down. Yeah. This is, I mean, listen, it's all too easy, but it is fun to do it, to bash Saudi Arabia in lots of ways for the treatment of women in terms that they can't drive, they are not allowed out on their own, they can't have their own career, they have to be constantly male chaperone. One wonders how the logistics of this actually work were the wall not to fall down. So you said it's in the middle. I would debate whether that wall is actually in the middle of the Starbucks. It's closer to the women's side. So I think the men have got a little more real estate. Let's just call it as a supposition. It would make sense, right? Because more men are out and about and allowed to go places. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, I'll let you have that one. But then, what about in terms of? So how does it work? You go with your husband to the Starbucks. You enter the same way. Your husband presumably goes and orders makes the order, and then you just divide off? Is that how it works? I'm pretty sure that if you are accompanied by your brother or your husband or your father, it has to be an immediate family member who's a male. I'm hoping, or I'm guessing, and I'm assuming that you can sit together. So why need the wall at all? Because there's no unaccompanied women going in there. Well, maybe if there's a group of women who have their male chaperone with them, maybe they can all sit together, but they're not going to be with the other men on the other side, you know? Because sometimes a group of women will go out, they can do that, but they do, like you said, have to have a chaperone. They have to be accompanied. They have to be accompanied. So maybe if it's that group of girls, maybe they'll go sit on the women's side, right? If they don't have an immediate family member with them. But I don't know if they're allowed to do that. If it's not an immediate, it gets very confusing. It gets very convoluted. So, but this wall came down, which is in of itself somewhat as a metaphor there, I feel, somewhere. The wall literally came crumbling down between the two genders, but they're working carefully to put it back up. Just remind people that women, for the first time ever, were allowed to vote in municipal elections last month. And actually, certain women stood for election. So there is some element of gender change, just not in having a latte. We're talking about municipal elections, which virtually hold absolutely no power over anything. It's more symbolic than anything, just to appease. Hey, I'll take it. Yeah. It's good. It's a good step in the right direction. Although, speaking of metaphors, how ironic is it that all of this is happening in a Starbucks, which is like the #1 sign of like American capitalism, big corporations, and they're over there using Starbucks, making it their own. Anyways, so for now, this one location, no women allowed until that wall, that restricting wall, is put back up.